Bitcoin have been taken off the exchanges in the last 30 days. Forbes, they're talking about the Trump pump, sending Bitcoin to a $15 trillion market cap. The FASB accounting rules have now kicked in. Saylor has once again dropped the Bitcoin green dot chart. I'm sure this means Saylor is buying again. Could be as much as $5 billion. MicroStrategy, they are set to enter the NASDAQ 100. Welcome to G'day Bitcoin. I'm your mate Sean. This is the Bitcoin news with the fast facts. Let us know where you're tuning in from as Bitcoin sits pretty close to $103,000 today. It was above, and I expect that to happen live on stream. If you're watching the replay, watch the big green clock in the background. Max Kaiser thinks we should be 5x in price with the current hash rate. We have another three nation states pushing for Bitcoin reserves. Let's dive straight in this morning. Forbes, we're going to cover this a whole lot more in a couple of minutes, but Trump confirms Bitcoin reserve plans $15 trillion price boom predicted, and that is a boom. Max Kaiser hash precedes price. The new hash rate adjusted inferred price for Bitcoin now over $550,000. Is anyone more bullish? Has anyone stayed more bullish than Max Kaiser has throughout the years? It has gone up forever. MicroStrategy to enter the NASDAQ 100. We will come back to this as well. Bitcoin for freedom. I like this gentleman. MicroStrategy, they own 2% of all Bitcoin, and they get added to the NASDAQ 100 the 23rd of December. Trump confirms plans for a Bitcoin reserve. 120,000 Bitcoin plus taken off exchanges this month. The ETFs own 1.3 million Bitcoin. Hopefully they don't own your Bitcoin and are buying 4.5 thousand Bitcoin every day. BlackRock recommends 2% Bitcoin allocation, and you're bearish. Well, I certainly am not bearish. Let us know if you are bearish on Bitcoin. With Michael Saylor dropping the green dot chart, the SaylorTracker.com missing a green dot. Week in, week out, Saylor, every time he drops this, he's announced to buy. 1 billion, 3 billion, maybe we get $5 billion this week. It's insane. We're going to come back to this as well. British Hodl uncovers what that means. But the FASB accounting rules, they've officially adopted fair value accounting for Bitcoin for fiscal years beginning after the 15th December 2024. It started yesterday or today for everyone over in the States. Which is relevant because it is over in the US. This upgrade to accounting standards will facilitate the adoption of Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset by corporations worldwide. I wanted to know what it means, what fair value accounting means. So I asked Grok, let us know if Grok got it wrong. But the statement, FASB has officially adopted fair value accounting for Bitcoin for fiscal years beginning after 15th December, means that the Financial Accounting Standards Board, which is FASB, the organization that establishes financial accounting reporting standards for public companies in the United States, has decided to require companies to account for Bitcoin and its current market value in their financial statements starting from fiscal years that begin after today. Here's what this entails and why it's considered beneficial for Bitcoin's price. What is fair value accounting for Bitcoin? Fair value accounting, this principle requires that assets be recorded on a company's balance sheet at their current market value rather than at historical cost or the lowest price within a period, which was previously the case for Bitcoin. For Bitcoin, this means companies will periodically, bloody hell, good morning, adjust the value of their Bitcoin holdings to reflect the current market price, whether it has increased or decreased. Impact on financial statements. The balance sheet, Bitcoin holdings will now be shown at their fair value, providing a more accurate reflection of a company's current financial position. Income statement changes in the fair value of Bitcoin will be recognized in net income, meaning gains or losses from price changes will be reported in the period they cover. Why is fair value accounting good for Bitcoin? Number one, increased transparency. Number two, encourages corporate adoption. Number three, reduces complexity. Four, potential for price stabilization. And five, investor confidence. And that all kicks off today. There is a little bit of fear around Google's Willow processor, a threat to Bitcoin quantum computers. Press and push low. No, not even close. Nothing to worry about at this stage. Bitcoin bros, this is something that we need to worry about though at this stage. Bitcoin bro, I've got an answer for you, a couple of answers. Bitcoiners, I need your help. What do you use for cold storage? I've used Ledger for years and have had no issues, but I've seen some concern posts about backdoor access. Ledger is probably not something that I would ever recommend. Something that's better to look into is the Foundation device if you're new. Very user-friendly, or the Cold Card are two really good ones. What we're looking for is air gaps, Bitcoin only, open sourced as well, as a minimum. If you need any help getting your Bitcoin off the exchange, reach out to the Bitcoin Way today. The first 30 minutes is free. Tony, the team of masters, we've got a podcast drop in over the next couple of weeks where we dive deep into the deception of the matrix and the fiat system and how to opt out. But the team can just teach you how to get your Bitcoin off the exchange into cold storage so nobody can ever touch it. No government, institution, entity, nation state can ever confiscate your Bitcoin. It can never be taken away from you. If you need help, reach out to the Bitcoin Way. Again, first 30 minutes is free. Link at the top of the description. Dude, nation states. Like, this is absolutely insane. I was reading this and I was thinking of everyone here. How crazy is it that you all front ran this? Well done. It's absolutely amazing. It lights me up to think of. Thailand, Bitcoin archive. Thailand to study the potential of Bitcoin as legal tender. Former Thailand Prime Minister says his son, who's the current PM, may assign the Ministry of Finance to study whether to accept Bitcoin or not as legal tender. Let's go. Argentine President Javier Milei to embrace Bitcoin payments in 2025. Let's see what he has to say. I actually haven't listened to this. Let's go, Javier. Nothing. Okay, it's a GIF. We didn't miss out on anything there. Japanese politician named Satoshi. This is amazing. Questions his government about strategic Bitcoin reserve movements in the USA around the world, submitted by Satoshi Himada. Questions on the status of understand the movement to introduce Bitcoin reserves in the United States and other countries. Everyone's starting to wake up. But do you think you're bullish? But then you think you're bullish, but then you realize Bitcoin is at $102,000. It's at 103. We hit it, ladies and gentlemen, going up and to the right forever. Obviously not financial advice. Study Bitcoin. That is advice. And it is still barely owned by the investing masses. This is why we're going to continue to go so much higher. Super cycle, 4-year cycles, one or the other. Bitcoin is going up and to the right, but they're passively shoving hundreds of billions into US equities every year. Heck, most of them are still bidding the infinite supply government bonds. Zero Bitcoin exposure is the norm. But that ends starting this week. Everyone bidding NASDAQ will be bidding Bitcoin via MicroStrategy. First to trickle, then deluge. Six-figure Bitcoin will be looked at with nostalgia sooner than you think. Stack hodler, stack harder. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone tuning in, watching the replay. I can see Habib in the chat. Emil, Zig, 21 Spiels, Sats, rock and roll. Let's go. Glencoe this morning. G'day, everyone. All the lurkers, say hello. Don't be weird. Now let's continue to go. Oh, this is old. We've seen it before. But this shows the state of the economy and why Bitcoin's going to continue to win. Let's just play it. No context needed.
And over a longer time horizon, how concerned are you about the potential impact of the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I thought as well. So let's dive into the Bitcoin price. Hey, where are we at? $103,065. In the last 24 hours, we had a high of $103,378. All-time high is $103,679. Could we see that end of day? Maybe we need to wait until Wall Street, till everyone in the US wakes up and they get through Sunday. But 100,000, oh, low. Did anyone buy around there? $100,889. Last 7 days, it's absolutely insane. Nearly a $10,000 move. 9,000, 94,561 the low, 103,378 the high, which happens really a couple of hours ago, not even. Yeah, 2 hours ago. When I woke up, it was pretty cool to be able to see. Now, Lawrence Lepard, we've got a podcast coming out. Probably drop that next week. So another good reason to hit subscribe. We've also got Samson Mao. That conversation, the guy's orange pillar nation states. I'll leave what he has to say for that, but absolutely insane. I'm not bullish enough with what Samson's doing it. It's absolutely incredible, but kind of makes you wonder what the Trump team is planning. Former Trump campaign manager Paul, to those celebrating $100,000 Bitcoin, you're going to be celebrating much higher for much longer. Could not agree more. So diving into this Forbes article I brought up right at the start, Trump confirms Bitcoin reserve plans, $15 trillion price boom predicted. Okay, let's go. Trump has firmly embraced Bitcoin and crypto this year as a leak reveals Russia could be about to start a Bitcoin Cold War. Just talking about Trump embracing Bitcoin and crypto for like 30 seconds, I watched Eric at the Bitcoin conference in Dubai talk about it. He brought crypto into it so much. So it's not just going to be Bitcoin only, unfortunately. The water's going to get a little bit muddied, but whatever. It's going to be a fun time for a lot of people, especially for the degens, until Bitcoin comes down a bit and they all get destroyed. But it's not Bitcoin only. They do talk about crypto quite a lot. Anyway, it is what it is. My own personal hang-ups. We're going to do something great with crypto because we don't want China or anybody else, but others are embracing. We want to be ahead of them. In July, then Republican candidate Donald Trump promised to create a strategic national Bitcoin reserve and predicted Bitcoin could eclipse gold's $15 trillion market cap, $16 trillion market cap. Senator Alumnus has introduced a bill to Congress. This just clicked. I don't know why it hadn't before. Entitled the Boosting Innovation, Technology and Competitiveness Through Optimization Investment Nationwide Act, Bitcoin Act, which proposes the US buy 1 million Bitcoin over 5 years to reduce the spiraling 35 trillion US national debt. Russia lawmakers were this week revealed to be pushing the country to create a Bitcoin strategic reserve after Russia's President Vladimir Putin praised Bitcoin as an alternative to foreign currency reserves following the seizure of its funds by Western governments in response to its invasion of Ukraine. The possibility that Trump follows through on his Bitcoin reserve plans has spurred huge Bitcoin price predictions from Bitcoin traders and investors, boosted by an Elon Musk surprise. What is that surprise? Who knows? That they're associated with Palantir. No, that's a photo I'm taking way out of context. There, I think we're in for a really good time. However, it doesn't matter if Trump buys it, the US buys it, nation states buy it, Russia buys it, China buys it. None of it matters. It's actually irrelevant now. All that matters is the conversation's happening. And when there's conversation, when there's discourse, when there's discussion, it gets people talking. And we want all our friends and family to understand that they need to be paying attention to Bitcoin right now. Otherwise, unfortunately, they're going to be poor. Parallel, give them the gift of reading for Christmas. Bitcoin Evangelism, Parallel, great books. I think there's a link in the description. I think there's been a link for Bitcoin Evangelism the last year at least. It's a really good book. But now's the time to be paying attention. And I think this is great. Whether they do or don't, it's probably more likely now that they do. It doesn't matter. It's going to get people talking. That's what we want. We want them to open up the conversation, be in question, and ask us about Bitcoin because it'll save them. But right, like this strategic treasury reserve asset for companies following the Saylor playbook, it's just heating up. It's insane. Right, they acquire 5,117 Bitcoin, average price to 99,669 per Bitcoin, using the net proceeds from its recent $525 million bond issue. Right now holds 16,728 Bitcoin at just a measly 1.68 billion. Didn't really price that in. The miners raising debt to be able to buy more Bitcoin and not to sell their Bitcoin. So even less coming on a daily basis. Michael Saylor, chuffed as MicroStrategy enter the NASDAQ 100, diving into it a little bit deeper. Will expose Bitcoin-linked stock to billions in passive investment inflows. The self-described Bitcoin development company became, this is bittersweet, and he may get kicked out in short order. We'll dive into it. Became one of the 75 largest non-financial firms in the NASDAQ after its explosive growth this year. NASDAQ, what to know? NASDAQ has announced its That's a tongue twister. NASDAQ has announced its NASDAQ 100 annual reshuffling, which now includes MicroStrategy, a recent check showed MSTR would be the 40th largest company in the NASDAQ 100. Inclusions in the index will earn MicroStrategy a spot, one of the world's largest ETFs, and Invesco's QQQ Trust with more than 300 billion assets under management. On November 29, the day when the NASDAQ took a market snapshot in preparation for the index annual rebalancing, MSTR had a market cap of roughly 92 bill. That would rank the Michael Saylor-led company as the 40th largest in the NASDAQ 100 and a likely weight in the index of 0.47%, according to Bloomberg Intelligence. Eric Balashunas, did I get that right? I never do. Maybe. I think I nailed it that time, actually. Balashunas. The addition will exponentially increase the NASDAQ 100's exposure to Bitcoin, of which MicroStrategy owns about 42 billion worth, and exposing MicroStrategy billions in passive income. ETFs track the NASDAQ 100 more than 550 billion in assets under management, said Balashunas, easily the largest in Invesco's QQQ Trust with more than 300 billion AUM. So the inclusion of MicroStrategy entering the NASDAQ 100 is possibly the second biggest story of 2024 after the launch of the US spot listed ETFs. Friendly reminder, if your Bitcoin's non self-custody, it's not your Bitcoin, but let's carry on. These funds are often buyers at any price level, and that's fine if you've got Bitcoin self-custody to go out on the risk curve. Totally understand. I get it. That's fine. British Huddle and I were talking about this, as well as Samson Mao and I were talking about this, which is coming out shortly. But these funds are often buyers at any price level on a monthly basis. Just tick-tock, next block, up we go, which will add to another buyer of MSTR when Saylor continues to issue over and over again. At the market, the ATM offering to dilute shareholders, but will have a bigger base of buyers. Balashunas' colleague James Seifert cautions that there's a chance MicroStrategy inclusion in the index, it might be short-lived, as the company could be reclassified as a financial firm in March. Imagine that. That'd be pretty bittersweet. They get in there, kick straight back out again in March, a couple of months. Since its value comes almost entirely from its Bitcoin holdings, not the actual operating business, MicroStrategy founder and executive Michael Saylor has even said previously that he plans to turn the company into a Bitcoin bank, making it even less of a technology operation. That's very interesting and intriguing to me. The first place that my mind goes, and I'd like to know where yours does, but if they class them as a financial firm, they're admitting that Bitcoin is money. Like, isn't that how it works by default? They say he's a financial firm, and Michael Saylor is saying this is a Bitcoin bank. What do banks issue? They issue currency. Currency is a deviation of money. Pretty bloody interesting. That's where my thoughts go. The game theory now sees the SPDR S&P 500 Trust, the largest of all ETFs with about 650 bill assets under management, as maybe needing to include MicroStrategy to rival their competitor. Crazy. The reshuffling in the NASDAQ 100 and consequently the QQQ related ETFs will go into effect December 23. Pretty interesting timing as well. I sort of do expect a Santa Claus rally. I fear we get one. I hope that we don't. I like these prices are anything under 100K, but maybe we just start pumping. You know, I was talking to Michael Dunworth last week on the phone with another good friend. 120,000 by Christmas, maybe 150,000 by New Year's. He said that, and then afterwards he's like, fuck, it'll be what it'll be. Hopefully it's not that high, and Bitcoin will just do its thing. And that's the way that I approach it. Hope for the best where it comes down, fear for the worst, that it continues to go up forever, which it's been doing for its whole history. But interest rates, they're going to come down. Fred chiming in here. ECP cut 25 basis points. Fed will butt 25 basis points in December 18. The Fed is a butt, but they look like they are set to cut December 18. It's 2 days away, or 3 days for everyone in the States. It's weird being a day ahead. And down under, upside down. I get it, but it's coming. TikTok next block. All of these things aligning for Christmas. It's pretty bloody interesting. Australia is still yet to cut interest rates. By the way, Jeff Park. I'm not going to read all of this, but I will repost it. If anyone's interested in MSTR, it's pretty interesting. As MSTR officially enters the NASDAQ 100 today, here's my one-page executive summary on the theory of MicroStrategy and how to profit off the unstoppable hyper-financialization of finance, the trade of the decade. It's just about getting started. What I like about MSTR is it's a very, very interesting plane. Nothing's really been done like that. It's like the highest order level of financial engineering that's ever existed. And it happens to be happening using Bitcoin as that underlying asset. Absolutely fascinating. Full disclaimer, I'm Bitcoin only in self-custody. I'm not holding MSTR, just so you know. But let's hit refresh on the block clock and see where we're at. Space and time. Most important number, $874,918. The sats per USD. It is a sad day. We're under 1,000, but the good news is you still get 973 Satoshis per USD. You see the debate, the talk over the weekend, renaming Satoshis. So every one Bitcoin, if you're new or you haven't had it explained before, this may be helpful. Every Bitcoin is made up of 100 million individual units, sort of, but those individual units are called Satoshis. There's discussion, proposition to relabel Satoshis to Bitcoin. So what we currently think of one Bitcoin now, and it's less than 1 million people, it's like 990 something thousand addresses hold one Bitcoin or more. So less than 1 million people are ever going to be able to hold Bitcoin. That number is going to continue to go down. If you join that club, well done. If you got close to it, well done. However, one Bitcoin, 100 million Satoshis, they want to label Satoshis Bitcoin. So then what is currently one Bitcoin now will be 100 million Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to fly because I want to see dollar sat parity, and I do expect that to come. I don't think it's going to take long either. Fees, they've come up a little bit, but still not too bad. Good time. Like, I continue to expect this to get higher and higher and higher. If it's around 2, it's an amazing time to do some UTXO management, consolidate all your coins into your wallet. Priority 5, we are going to see this really jump up. What, last week was it 9? Any other numbers? We're missing 19.79 million, 94.26% of the 21 million supply. And what are we doing? 9 minutes 36, bang on what the average has been, 9 minutes and 35 seconds since the genesis of block. Now, for the MicroStrategy fans out there, and just for Bitcoin in general, actually, with Saylor putting out the green dots, every week, week in, week out, he's bought. History doesn't always repeat, but often it rhymes. And I think this is another time where it rhymes. So British Huddle, I think Saylor will announce the purchase of roughly 15,000 Bitcoin tomorrow, based on my model. 15,000 Bitcoin. I know it's MicroStrategy's buying it for MicroStrategy, but it isn't amazing to be able to have that capacity in the brains to be able to financially engineer and matrix attack the matrix. It's incredible. If they pushed it very hard up to 25,000 Bitcoin, sticking to 15K tomorrow, it means he would need to buy 61,350 Bitcoin by the end of the year to achieve the 5,000K goal, 500,000K goal I've been talking about. As the NASDAQ flows start, even if the 61,350 coins were purchased at an average of 120,000 per coin, this would require only 7.4 billion of the remaining 9 billion ATM. So a lot of leeway would be created in case the price runs away by the end of the year. It all depends on what the market cap multiple is on the 2.1 billion cash injection from the NASDAQ towards end of next week. Another alternative would be extract the 7.4 billion from the retail front, running, that will happen starting tomorrow until the NASDAQ flows, and then let the stock rip after the 23rd of December into January. This would be beneficial in sharply increasing volatility, which would make the remaining 18 billion of converts more attractive than they are right now, so they can execute all of that in a quiet period leading up to the February earnings, after which you announce new ATM probably in the region of 40 to 50 billion. I'm not letting Saylor get my coins. I'm trying to outrun them, and it's pretty bloody hard. It's like picking up pennies in front of a steamroller, but very interesting game theory will be playing in the market over the next week to take as much Bitcoin off the table. Fascinating to watch. It is. All three of these men have talked about Bitcoin. The whole world's starting to talk about Bitcoin. This is not the full photo. There's a real interesting one where there's this, and then on the side of it, there's like here, said Palantir in big letters. Actually, I can find it. It was Luke Belmar posted it. He's gone deep into the matrix. This is a gentleman that I would like to talk to and have on the show. Palantir. Interesting. None of these people are coming to save you. A different cabal took over. Utilize this power struggle period to get rich and get out. Good luck. I hope you make it. Good luck. I hope you make it. If you're stacking Bitcoin, if you're reading the books, you'll make it. Just go as hard as you possibly can, understanding that it's not risky, but it's volatile as. That's the news with the fast facts. I'm going to dive into a quick little banter. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. Samson Mao dropping next week. Lawrence Lepard dropping next week. Max DeMarco. That conversation, George, 2 podcasts with George. We've had George Bowden on before talking about MicroStrategy and then Bitcoin. We separated them because they are very separate things. Trying to understand the MSTR play just out of curiosity, not to invest, but hopefully people find that interesting. It's another good reason to hit subscribe. Going to dive into a bit of a banter this morning. How is everyone? It's a grand and glorious day. It is pissing down rain outside, and I really like the sun. I'm a sun maxi. I spend 4 to 6 hours on the laptop in the sun each and every day. But my wife's like a little duck. That doesn't make any sense. She loves the rain. Absolutely loves the rain. Like ducks love the rain. Yesterday we went for a nice drive. Moonroof open, rain like pissing down. She's just there like this. Kid in a candy store. It's nice because it's so bloody hot here in summer. Anyway, shout out to Habib. Glencoe, g'day from Reston, Virginia. Again, Virginia is one of my favorite places in the world. It is just so beautiful. The whole state. The world's an amazing playground. I believe in God, the great outdoors. But the geography and the diversity and the states, it's absolutely amazing. Like Sequoia to Crater Lake, opposite ends of the spectrum. Shenandoah National Park, incredible. On, you know that song Shenandoah River? I can't sing, but my wife can really well. So she's playing ukulele, baritone ukulele, and singing that on the Shenandoah River, and just sitting there smoking this nice cigar. And we're like on a bend on the Shenandoah River while this was happening, and there's like ducks land and stuff and the sparkling water. It's an incredible place. Anyway, there's a bit of a trip. Tuning in from Sydney. Let's go, Habib. Emil, good to see you this morning. Emil, I was just talking to somebody about you 2 days ago, Saturday night. Zig, oi mate, knee trembling, bullish at the moment, staying icy though. It scares me. I think it's just gonna rip, whether it's the Santa Claus rally. And like we're sort of coiling up for it. If we look at the price, let me just go out to the last month. This sort of like, it's pretty bloody narrow, not drawing. This is not technical analysis. It's me just being an idiot. Can I draw on this chart? I don't even know how to do it. No, it's not working. And that's me. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Not what I wanted. It's, fuck it. I'm just making shit up anyway. But it is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. What I want to do, this is how I look at the Bitcoin price. Let's go. Like 3 months we've gone up, 1 month we've come up, but it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And over the last 7 days, it's pretty much sideways. The longer we can go sideways, then we just pop up, go sideways, pop up. That's what I like to see. Shouldn't have attempted that. That was a bit of a fail, but hey, we're live. Anything can happen. As we say in Australia, shit happens. Oi mate, knee trembling. Bitcoin way is not worth the money. Buy sats instead. Depends. It really depends how much you're securing. I've gone through the service myself. Absolutely would not sleep as easy as I do without them. Again, talk to them, find out about your situation. If you've got time in your hands, go out and find the knowledge, and then maybe just spend a little bit of time to be able to check with them. It's your money, it's your choice. Definitely stack sats, but protect them at all costs. Rock and roll, it's happening. Thailand plans to use Bitcoin as a reserve to back digital currency. First sandbox will be Phuket province. We made it, guys. That's absolutely amazing. Maybe there's more information out about that. If there is, I'll bring that up later on this week. Chico on the van, good morning. G'day from Texas. One place I still have not been yet. Jack Mollers send to know something about a day one. Yeah, so that was the podcast. Who was he with? Scaramucci, I think, and he's talking about it's going to happen day one. Bitcoin strategic reserve asset. What's interesting is they're really talking about it, and Eric Trump talking about it. I'd be surprised now if it doesn't happen. To what extent? Interesting. When, whether day one or the first 100 days. But pretty interesting. Doing a good job, Sean. Truly appreciate you. Watch the centralization begins. Yeah, $1 equals 1 sat. Merry good vibes, Sean, from Byron Bay. Thanks for all your work, insights, and time. Let's effing go. Soul Surfer, I've brought it up before, but Byron Bay is a glorious place. Those 2 shipwrecks straight off the beach, epic snorkeling, especially in winter when all the little jellies are there. Had a lot of fun, snorkeling with jellyfish around those wrecks. Value nominated sats, music to the ears. Let's go. Again, if you haven't already, hit subscribe. It will push the Bitcoin message out there. It will help push YouTube to push the Bitcoin message out there. We are at 102,769. I am still buying, but I think it's going to run. It's going to rip pretty quick. And even if we don't get a Santa Claus rally and we need to wait till executive orders signed and then it just pumps hardcore, I wouldn't be trying to time it. I'm not trying to time it, at least. I'm just trying to get as much as possible week in, week out at the moment while we've still got an opportunity. Let us know. Are you buying or are you good? Have you stopped the DCA? What's the plan going forward? And where do you think the price will be? Again, please do something nice for yourself today. For somebody else out there, have a beautiful day. Be blessed. Peace.
Everything seemed normal. Successful businesses were functioning as they usually should. Money was being placed in the bank as savings. Life was good. Nobody notices anything funny. But 2008 hits and all hell breaks loose. Everything we thought about money and the banking was a complete lie, a complete sham, a Ponzi, a scam. The whole world fell apart and a lot of people got hurt financially. And as a result of this, the Bitcoin white paper was born. But yet the same mistakes keep happening over and over again. People are leaving money on their institutions up until the last straw, FTX, when billions of dollars were lost, families were decimated, life savings were completely wiped, and people were wondering what on earth just happened. We have an option to take full custody of our funds, and that's Bitcoin. We just have to learn the process. It's not hard. It's just something we've never had to do before. Otherwise, the same mistakes are going to keep repeating themselves, and people are going to continue to get hurt over and over and over until they learn you need to exit the system in order to protect yourselves and your loved ones.